Ron Vitiello is with us. He is a senior advisor to Customs and Border Patrol. Nice to see you. Give me a little of your background and what you bring to CBP.
Yeah, so I was a 33-year Border Patrol agent. I left that job as the chief in headquarters at the national level. In Trump 1, I was nominated to be the ICE director. I retired from federal service in 2019 and came back day one of this administration to help at CBP.
You didn't think that sticking around for the Biden administration would be worthwhile, or?
No, it was a nice time to go.
I hear you. Where were you? What sectors?
I was everywhere. I was on the northern border. I worked in Vermont, the northern New York area. I was in Arizona for a number of years. A couple of tours at the headquarters, and then a lot of time in Texas on the southern border.
I had a cousin that was in Del Rio for a lot of years. I was talking to Tom Holman about it recently. They actually work together, so small world of the Border Patrol folks. Let's talk about the Border Patrol. You've been there, done that, obviously. I would imagine that the sea change has happened in a very short time with some serious wind at their back. Describe what day-to-day is like today under Trump 2 for those boots-on-the-ground agents.
Yeah, well, right now there's about 130 people who still think they can try to cross the border in between the ports illegally. But now if you cross the border, you're likely to get apprehended. You will likely be prosecuted in federal court for that crime, and you will be removed quickly. And so the border in 7 months looks nothing like it has in the last couple of decades. I've never seen numbers the way we're seeing them now. As a comparison, during the time of Biden, 5,700 people were coming across the border every 24 hours. Now that number is less than 150. And the interagency cooperation is very commendable. The White House policy and the leadership of the department and the interagency collaboration is in a state I've never seen before, but it's all working together to help the front line do what they need to do to secure that border.
I know there's a lot of assets in the one big beautiful bill that will enhance everything you're talking about. One of the things, correct me if I'm wrong, was a lot on detention centers and physical assets that are being built. Those don't get built overnight, I realize. And, we heard a lot about kids in cages and all that stuff. Just talk a little bit about the facilities that are here and what's coming.
Yeah, so the facilities at ICE that will increase, about double the size of their ability to do detention of people who are in immigration proceedings. So somebody that CBP arrests, after they go to federal court and get sentenced for illegal entry, then they get turned over to ICE to be removed. They need a safe place to stay. So they're going to double the capacity that they currently have for those places. That could be temporary sites, that could be actual sites, that could be contracts, that could be government owned. They're also going to double the size of their fleet in aircraft so they can remove people better. And on the physical border, the bill has a lot of investment for infrastructure, wall, access to the wall, tech on the wall, and then at CBP, 8,000 new frontline employees.
One of the things that most alarms our listeners, obviously many things related to the border, and I think what's been done in a short period of time has not gotten anywhere near enough credit because there's so many other things going on, but in my mind, it's the number one accomplishment. And one of the biggest concerns we hear about is kids and trafficking and what's going on. You've been on the ICE side, you've been on the Border Patrol side. First, an overview of just how bad it is, and now what is being done to tackle that huge problem.
Yeah, well, it was really bad under the Biden administration. Hundreds of thousands of kids were brought to the border, some with their parents, some without. Some we discovered were with adults that were trafficking them, and so some of those kids are still missing, if you will, via government records. A lot of them have been found under this administration, but a lot more work to do there. But the chaos at the border has ended, so the plight that these children find themselves in has also been removed or lessened in some degree. And so there's not these huge numbers of people coming across the border trying to smuggle children, trying to traffic children. And so when the border's safer, they're safer as well. And then you have agents that have more time on task to do interviews and to do interrogations of those that might be trafficking children to elicit that information and rescue those kids.
You've seen a lot, no doubt, in your position in both ICE and CBP. Tell me the worst case you saw of human trafficking.
Well, there's several times in my career. One that I'll recall here is these two brothers. They're very young. They were being trafficked across the border near Laredo, where I worked, and the group ran out of water. One of the brothers fell ill, and the smuggler just left him and his brother behind because they couldn't keep up with the group, and we watched that boy basically die in his brother's arms. Even though we got there, even though we rendered first aid, it wasn't fast enough. And those are the kinds of things that happen in a chaotic border when the policy doesn't align to keep individuals safe in any regard, right? These smugglers have no compassion for individual human beings. They just want to make money, and the cartels are happy to take it from them. And so those are the kinds of things that when you have a safe and secure border, you can prevent those kinds of tragedies.
I know there's an effort to use the military and other resources to directly target the cartels. If you were king for a day, what would be done to target that sworn enemy to the United States?
Yeah, find a way for Mexico to ask for more help in that regard. Have our men and women in military uniforms helping the Mexican government directly. End the corruption in Mexico that allows these cartels to thrive and hurt people all over the globe. But yeah, there's a high level of cooperation now with Mexico. You know, that people don't realize the threat of tariffs. Their need to access the U.S. market is a powerful motivator, even for some of these corrupt politicians that allow. And so the military-to-military relationship is strong and getting stronger each and every day. But more of that would help all of us.
Is the Mexican government stepped up their game, and do they have the capability, even if they have, to really tackle this problem from their side?
Some of them have been willing, even the president herself. They have turned over some of the indicted Mexican individuals that are part of the cartels. They've allowed us to extradite them into the United States to face justice in our courts. And so that ends the threat of corruption, of them getting away with the things they've gotten away with so far. And so they have helped in a number of ways. There's still a lot more work to be done in that regard. Are they capable of doing it? They do not have the kind of will or the kind of president that's dedicated to securing their country like we have.
I want to ask you about the northern border. Obviously very important to our listeners, from Montana on the west all the way through Minnesota. There's been anecdotal things, Chinese nationals frozen to death on the border trying to cross. Obviously, I've been to the northern border many times. You literally just walk across it. There's nothing, rarely fence or anything. You don't even know when you're in Canada versus the U.S., which gives us all some consternation that all of the stuff you're seeing at the southern border is probably going through the northern border because it's way more porous. Give us a sense of what's been done the last 6 months, what more is to be done.
Well, we have additional capability, right? The agents that are there are not being tasked to do humanitarian missions on the southwest border. They're not inside processing people who are coming across the border in droves. And so they're now time on task, doing patrols of the border, integrating and discussing with their neighbors on the northern border, right? You know, having lived in that area, that the farmers, the ranchers, the people who live near the Canadian border, they want a safe and orderly community just like the rest of us. And so they're happy to share information as they learn it. It's one of the advantages that law enforcement has in that area, lots of local cooperation. So more of that will continue. And then what we want for the southern border is the same thing we want for the northern border. We want to know when people come back and forth across that border, when things go back and forth across that border. We want to encourage the good people and the good things and keep out the bad people and the bad things. That's about resources. That's about policy. That's about infrastructure. And all of those things are part of the future investments that we're going to make.
What keeps you up at night related to the northern border?
Well, the discrete threats, to your point, you know, these desolate, middle of nowhere type of locations where it could be exploited by state or non-state actors, and that's why cooperation needs to be high and we continue to work on those relationships locally.
If you had to rank foreign terrorists, coming in for a sleeper cell, trafficking, fentanyl, what's the biggest threat?
I think it's that. I think the more immediate threat or the more likely threat are these cartels reacting in a poor way. But state actors like Iran and China, we know they're trying to infiltrate the United States in every community and every location, and so we have to be vigilant for that.
Let's talk a little bit about border crossings, not illegal but legal. There's a lot of challenges in some of the rural communities that have a big agriculture connection to Canada, where they're back and forth, where the border stations have actually been shuttered, or they have ridiculously small windows of time. How are you doing on that front to open that up?
Well, it's a constant evolution. Working with our counterparts in Canada, understanding what local communities need and what we need on the national scale. So balancing the staff that's available to the needs that are required during certain times of the year, maybe not all year. But yeah, that's a constant struggle for leadership in the field and here at Washington too, because the resources are finite and the needs are great.
Last question related to Canada on all things, whether it be border crossings, the ports and their hours, or just keeping an eye on this. I know that was another area where tariffs were being used as a lever. How are they doing on that front?
Well, they're definitely leaning in. We've had offers from the Canadian counterparts that I've never seen in my 30-plus year career. And so the physical border surveillance equipment, their attention to the fentanyl problem, all of those things they're kind of leaning in on because of the threat of tariffs and because of the drag it is on their own culture. And so I'm optimistic that relationship has improved greatly and will continue to.
And one last add-on question related to Canada. Their immigration laws are ridiculously lax. It's easy to get into Canada, which obviously enhances the threat. How about on that front? Are they looking at laws being changed, any reform in that regard?
I haven't heard them talk about that on the immigration side. But we do have really strong agreements as safe third country, and so we don't take people back that have status in Canada anymore like we may have a couple of years ago. And so those agreements are helping solidify each's understanding of what threats might be and kind of cleaning up our own mess.
Ron, appreciate your time. It's great comfort to know boots on the ground, been there, done that, is in senior leadership now. So keep fighting, and the best to all those agents.
Thanks so much. Good to be with you.